This isn't normally how I start my videos, especially that I'm in the van, but like many, I feel like content creators or people who record a lot, you're bound to lose some footage, and that's exactly what happened in this video. I lost a good 30% of what I was going to teach you in this video, which I'm kind of bummed about, but the beauty of it is that we can just do a quick recap here, and then I'll send you on your way to learn how to install your vent fan. Starting, I cut a hole in the roof the same way that I cut the windows. Made a cardboard cutout of the measurements of the fan. Then I traced that, laid down blue painter's tape all around where I was going to cut as to not really mess up the paint job of the van. And then I drilled 4 pilot holes and went in with my jigsaw. It was just like the windows. Very easy. The metal is so thin that it's, it's not like sparks flying and really intimidating. I mean, cutting a hole in the van was intimidating, but I had done it 4 times by now, so I was pretty used to it. The part that I lost at the end was that after you screw in the fan, you need to add this stuff called self-leveling lap sealant. And that you put on every single one of the screws and around the edges of the fan so that no water can get in. I really used a lot and took time to do this, and knock on wood, I have not had a leak yet. I love my vent fan. I went with the Maxxair Fan Pro, and I got the one with the remote because I knew that there would be moments where I would be in bed and not want to get up, and the remote has been great. After cutting the hole for the vent fan, we use this spray-on protectant by Rust-Oleum that will help prevent rust in the future. Now it's time to add the butyl tape. This will serve as the adhesive and watertight seal for the vent fan. I've read some other tips that freezing the butyl tape before use and taking it out 15 to 20 minutes before you're about to use it will help because it's a lot easier to work with and less sticky when it's frozen. So I laid down the first piece and then had to use a lot of pressure to make sure that it was sticking to the top of the van. I did clean down the surface with some all-purpose cleaner prior to doing this to give it a better seal. Notice how the roof of my van is not even and flat across, so I need to add a few extra layers of butyl tape to make it flush so that that trim ring will sit flush against the top of the van. I ended up adding 3 total layers to each side to make the lower parts of the van roof flush with the higher parts. Some people use plastic or buy an actual ring that will make this flat, but since I already had so much butyl tape, I figured I'd use what I had. It's always good to do a dry fit before you move on to the next step. All right, the butyl tape is going on the flange. This step is really important because you want the butyl tape to sit nice and flat against this flange. However, it has curves to it. So you really have to be flexible and try to get that butyl tape down on that flange as flat as you can do it. Also, when you reach the end of that point where you started, make sure to leave about 2 inches of butyl tape overlapping. This will create a watertight seal. Okay, here we go. Moment of truth. Okay. So the fan goes like this. I'm scared. Next step is to drill the pilot holes. There are already predetermined holes that you'll just need to put a bit through. Remember that the butyl tape is very sticky, so your bit is going to be covered in this stuff. I decided to screw 1 screw in just to make sure it worked before I went on to all the other holes. So I screwed the first hole in, I have the butyl tape, and we're gonna do the rest of the pilot hole. Hey, Dad.
Hello.
What are you doing with the Q-tip?
Cleaning out the holes because they have hole wax.
Dad. So you sprayed the Rust-Oleum.
Rust-Oleum, and I'm making sure that it gets into the hole to prevent further rust.
Smart.
I'm not as...
Never underestimate the power of a dad. When adding the screws, make sure to disperse the screws as you're putting them in. So don't go down a line or around the entire thing. Distribute them across each side so that it gets an even, nice seal. This one's not going in. We came back to the pilot hole that was giving us trouble and realized that a hand tool would be better in this situation. I don't know why, but we ended up getting the screw through, and it only happened to us once, so I'm glad we found a solution. Now it was time to dry fit the fan. This is very important. There are wires hanging down from the side of your fan. You can see mine there. Make sure that they make it into your vent fan hole. I realized that the wires were tucked up into the fan before I screwed it in, luckily, or else I would have had to redo the whole thing. Dad.
Come over.
So, hold on. We have an issue.
What's the issue?
The holes aren't like...
All right.
Like at all.
All right, pick it up. All right, now slowly let it down. Let me see what's happening. So push, you might have to...
We decided to lower the vent fan and give it a little bit of a push to see if it would click into place. Now open it. Keep going. Nope. Okay, so I think we do have to pop the things up a little bit. I took to the manual to see if there was something that we were missing. There are 4 silver pieces on the side of the vent flange that are adjustable, so we popped those up a little bit to see if it would fit with the holes on the side of the fan. They were tricky to adjust, so I suggest getting some sort of tool to help you pop them up. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. The holes didn't line up exactly, but using the drill and a regular hand tool, I was able to get all 4 screws in. This was a really frustrating part of the van install process because it felt like we had come so far and then to be stuck up on this one little part. I even considered that maybe I had a dud fan and was going to need to send it back. And voila, my fan was installed. I just have to add some watertight adhesive seal on top of those screws and then we'll be good to go. So here it is. It's a little dirty, but fully functional. I love it. One thing I didn't anticipate using the vent fan for as much, but now that I have it, I don't know what I do without it, is venting your van when you're cooking. I do use a propane stove. This is creating carbon monoxide that would kill me. Not having to open windows, just being able to open that vent fan is amazing. And thanks so much for being here. Remember that if you found any value here, please subscribe below. And I hope this helps you on your own journey of how to install a Maxxair fan.